Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to episode number
78
of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, brought to you by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. We are fired up to help you win with your money and help you accomplish far more than you ever thought possible with your personal finances. And that was the voice of my co-host, Megan Hibbert. Are you fired up today?
I'm fired up.
It is New Year's Eve. That's what it is. Our last episode was Christmas Eve, and now we're New Year's Eve. And we're so excited. This is the 52nd episode of the podcast this year.
Yes.
Which means we did it. We hit every single week of the year, which was our goal for the year. And we're super excited about the growth of the podcast this year. We're super grateful for each of you. Mm-hmm. And we are so pumped that this is how we get to end the year, because we like to focus on you, the listeners, our podcast listeners, and your questions. And so today, tell everybody what we're going to talk about.
Today, it's the last Monday of the month, the last Monday of the year, the last Monday of 2019. Get fired up. So we're going to be answering your top money questions that you've sent in over the month. And it's going to be a variety of topics. So make sure you stay tuned, because we could answer a question. We could answer your question, but we could also answer a question that you have been wanting to ask.
I got a little preview of these questions, and some of them are really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
So I can't wait to dive into it. Before we do that, though, we're going to go to one of the most exciting parts of the Monday Money Tip Podcast. You know what section that is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast is sponsored by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. Take your finances to the next level by utilizing our financial tools and calculators. Visit iwbnin.com and click on Tools. Budgeting templates, debt freedom date calculator, retirement calculators, investment calculators, they're all right there at your fingertips, and they're all free.
Yes, and we really want you to get those tools. They've been downloaded more than 1 million times, and you can be the 1,000,001th. It's awesome. You can be one of the oneths. And super excited about all those. Today's current money events topic is New Year money stuff.
New
like
Year
that topic?
money stuff.
I'm so
It's a
excited
very
about New Year
variety of
money
topic.
stuff. It's very, very detailed. Stuff
very
is a technical word.
Very vague.
It's stuff. It's stuff. It's New Year money stuff. It's the start of a brand new year, and now, N-O-W, now is the time to get intentional with your money decisions to position yourself for the best financial progress yet. Now is the time. Why? Because the new year is 2 days away, or you may be listening to this podcast
After the New Year.
And it's definitely now.
You're
time.
in the future.
So let me ask you a question. What can you start doing right now that will help you achieve your financial goals in 2020? Like, what can you do right now? Like, while we're on the topic of goals, what are your goals for 2020? Your life goals. What are your plans, hopes, and dreams? We want to make sure that you have your plans, hopes, and dreams written down, and that you have a financial goal to support each one of them. It's what I wrote about in the book, 2020 Money. I was broke, now I'm not.com/2020. Advertisement right there. What can you do right now that will help you achieve your financial goals in 2020? And those financial goals should be in support of your life's goals. And here's what I know. Many of us are out of rhythm during the end of the year, and it is an ideal time to sit down, evaluate your life, evaluate your money, and make the necessary adjustments. Let me tell you some practical New Year money stuff. Let me tell you what this stuff is. Are you ready, Megan?
I'm ready.
You still have time through April 15th, 2020 to make contributions to your 2019 IRA, Roth IRA, and HSA. But why not start now? Right? If you have not contributed your 2019 one, go ahead and start now. Don't wait till April 15th. Just get it done. Here's another thing you do. You can look at all of your subscriptions. Do you need all of them for real? Are there any you could eliminate or reduce? Like Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Pandora, cable, cell phone, your home phone, Disney Plus, Peacock, and all the other new, there's another streaming service every week. The gym, etc. Are there any you could eliminate or reduce? And here's what I know. If you just look at those two things, looking at your retirement contributions or HSA contribution and making sure that 2019's contribution is fully there, and you look at your subscriptions, that alone could mean a difference of thousands in your financial plan in 2020 and really position you to have the best year ever in 2020. And I don't know about you, Megan, I'm always interested in having the best year yet. How about you?
I am.
And I'm confident for our PLs, our podcast listeners, that's what they want. The plus. I'm a plus. I listen to plus. And isn't that awesome? That I really want to make sure that we all have the best year ever in 2020. There's no time like now to be able to get your finances rolling. And that's what I wanted to share about New Year money stuff. And that's all I have to say about the current money events section.
Yep. I will say, Jordan and I have looked. So over the holidays, I love to listen to Christmas music. And so I love to have it on in the house. I love, especially like when I'm home with Logan, I like to have it on in the background. Just, it's festive. It's fun. Who doesn't love music? But Spotify, we're on the free version and they get me with those commercials. I hate them. I really do. And so I've looked into several times, even like this morning, I looked into paying. Like, maybe we could do it. It's $10 a month.
Yeah.
And so I pay that for the year.
Yeah.
So
you have to earn
don't do it.
You have to earn $150 to pay the $120 that they'll charge you for the year.
Well, I mean, you could do it if you wanted to do it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will just say I'm willing to listen to the ads.
That's great.
Because I don't want to pay the $10.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And that's
You're
some more
welcome.
New Year money stuff straight from Megan and Megan's thoughts.
My encouraging.
Yeah.
The
inspirational moments with Megan.
My inspirational corner.
I'm inspired.
Yep. Also, don't forget to pick up your copy, if you haven't already, of Joe's new book, 2020 Money.
Yes.
And you can find out more at iwbnin.com/2020. You can pick up a copy for you, a friend, coworker, stranger on the street.
And in breaking news, you can also find it on Amazon. But you can't get all the extra bonus specials.
It's true.
But you can get one-day shipping from them. If you're a Prime member.
Which we are. And I love it. That's one I'm very fond of. Okay. For our success story today, we're going to hear from Miss Parker. And she said, I'm fired up. I just eliminated 10 accounts.
Yes.
Wow. One was a loan I had. One I paid it off in 31 months, not 36. I'm ahead. Thank you for the inspiration and the push. Now for the credit cards. I have 5 and I want to eliminate at least 3 by May.
That's right. And we just received that in November.
Yeah.
And Ms. Parker is fired up. I can imagine if you eliminated 10 accounts, one was a loan that she had, and you paid off your debt instead of 36 months like the debt freedom date calculator showed her, that's 31 months. It's more proof for all of you who've sat and listened to me in one of my events where I say the debt freedom date calculator does not include interest, but the average person pays it off faster than the time calculated. There's one more proof and evidence that I submit for the whole jury to consider. You can do this. And Ms. Parker, I suspect you're going to be debt-free by the end of 2020. You're going to have clear vision for your money and a lot of more clarity for your life. Fired up. Thanks for taking the time to share your story, sharing it with all of our podcast listeners. We're inspired and we are fired up for what has happened. Thank you.
And definitely let us know once you hit another milestone. So once you get to the 3 credit cards or once you pay off, more debt, let us know. We love to share your follow-up.
That's it.
Okay, so today we're going to be answering your top money questions. And so, ideally, rapid fire. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, question number 1. It says, here's my question. I'm considering expanding my revenue streams by purchasing real estate, such as vacation rental properties. However, most of my wealth is tied up in 401ks, IRAs, and other mutual funds and stocks. My access to liquid cash is limited. Anyways, now that I'm debt-free, the prospect of taking out a loan for anything makes me cringe. I can understand that. I know that you like to buy small businesses and rental properties also, but do you buy them outright? I feel like selling my mutual funds to buy a business is simply trading one investment for another vice expanding.
Versus expanding.
Oh, versus expanding. Sorry.
And so here's what I would say. I'm willing to do debt on businesses and investments that go up in value. I have done debt. When I acquire businesses, of which I've acquired 3 of them, I have purchased some outright, and others I've utilized short-term financing arrangements. When I say short-term, I mean 5 years or less. Here are my own Joe Sengel personal rules for any debt arrangements that I have created for business investments. That includes rental property purchases, okay? I won't finance anything that makes me lose sleep at night. If I lose sleep over it, I'm not doing it. Can I get a witness?
Yes.
I mean, there ain't much that I'm willing to give up sleep over. I like sleep. Sleep is my favorite. We just bought a new king-size bed. It is unbelievable. And man, I want to sleep. I like sleep. Sleep is great. 8 hours of sleep is what I got to have. I like sleep. So I'm not going to finance anything that causes me to lose sleep because I don't lose sleep right now over my finances. I don't see any reason to add that to my life. Also, I won't finance anything that my bride doesn't agree with.
That's a good
And
rule.
all brides said
Yes.
amen. I won't finance anything that prevents me from living generously. Like if it erodes my ability to live generously, to give to the church that I love, to be able to give to causes that I'm passionate about, I'm not going to do it. I won't finance anything that prevents me from pursuing my family's God-given plans, hopes, and dreams. I'm just not going to do it. I will only invest in it if it moves me towards my plans, hopes, and dreams. And I must have a path to paying off the debt within 5 years with one big caveat. If it's housing, rental properties, I'm okay with 15 years. Okay, but small businesses, 5 years. I must have at least a 50% ownership stake. So I have the ability to take control of the investment. I don't know about you, but I like control of my money. If I don't have majority investment or at least equal stake investment, that's a problem. If I go in thirds, then I want to have at least 1/3 ownership. I have financed the purchases of 3 of my businesses. One of them dwarfed the other 2 purchases by a factor of 10x. So literally, it was like the minnow eating a shark. We did it with short-term debt. I had a path to pay it off in 5 years until we managed to lose $143,000 in a single year, which was very special.
Yeah.
And which people say, $143,000 in a year, how did you survive? Well, because we live what we teach, and we had margin, and we had about $144,000. So that's how we made it, is we had margin. And that's why I'm very passionate about saying, don't spend the margin. You need margin. It's why it's rung 2 of the I was broke, now I'm not ladder. And so I would encourage you, I don't see the name of the person who wrote this, but I would say it's okay to do debt. Make sure you have massive margin. And I think these rules will serve you very well in your own journey. So maybe back it up, rewind it 3 minutes and listen to what I just said again. Rewind it, listen to it again. Maybe write it down. We'll have some of this maybe in a transcript or something, a few of these points, and in the show notes. But I encourage you, set rules for when you may and have debt, and then follow the rules. I think you'll be very glad you did.
Okay, question number 2. I'm 60 years old. I'm looking at possibly obtaining a long-term care insurance policy. Should I do it?
Well, I got one fact. They're 60 years old. I don't know other facts, such as it depends on a few factors, and I can't answer this question straight up with just that information, Megan. Come on. But I am going to answer it to the best of my ability, okay? Is that good? Yeah, I'm going to blame you for this
Did
question.
you just try to blame me?
I'm blaming
It is
you.
not my fault.
It's Megan's fault. It's now Megan's fault. It depends on a few factors. You're 60 years old. I want to ask you these questions. I can't get the answer because I'm not talking to this person who asked the question, but have any of your family members expressed an interest in providing such care, like long-term care for you? And what is your family history? Is there a history of Alzheimer's? Is there a family history of chronic illness that disables you and requires long-term care? Here's what I know. When me and my bride built our new house, we added a ensuite. Is it an ensuite? An additional thing in the house? What is that when it's, I think I'm using the wrong words. It's a living quarters, I guess is the right thing. It's not a full living quarters. It's a bathroom behind the door. It's a bathroom shower and a walk-in closet, a bedroom. It doesn't have kitchen. What is that called?
Oh, I just always call it like an in-law suite.
Okay, it's an in-law suite.
We'll just call that.
And I built that. It's on the main level of the house. And I built extra wide hallways to accommodate a wheelchair if necessary. And I did that because me and my bride have both agreed we would be willing to provide such care to our aging parents if they required it. Now, they don't want it. They don't like to think about it. But that's important when you're planning this idea of long-term care insurance, because long-term care insurance is indeed very expensive. It can be a very good purchase. But ultimately, any insurance policy you acquire is focused on transferring risk. And this is no different with long-term care insurance policy. You're looking to transfer risk. So whenever I'm looking at an insurance policy, I'm looking at what are the potential costs I could be liable for, and what is the risk I'm able to reduce or eliminate from my life by buying the insurance policy, and how much does that cost? And so I just recently looked at a long-term care insurance policy that would pay about $3,500 a month towards long-term care. And it would do it for a period of 10 years, no more than 10 years. And this person was looking at the policy and saying, should I acquire it? And when we looked at the purchase of it, it was $1,200 a year to maintain that policy. Mm-hmm. And they were late 50s, maybe right at 60. Who knows? It may have been the person that emailed this question in. But I know that with that policy, you're transferring the potential cost of $42,000 a year for $1,200 a year. $1,200 a year for 10 years is $12,000. That's $70,000. If you do it till you're 80, and it's $24,000 you've expended. You know, the chances of you getting that money back is pretty high, you know? And if you have a heart attack and fall dead and don't use any of it, you know, you transferred risk with the information you had in hand. And so I encourage each person to look at this as an individual thing based on factors and recognize this. You're betting. You're just betting. And you're just looking at the odds. I know a lot of people are kind of against betting, but I'm telling you, anytime you buy an insurance policy, anytime you get in your car, anytime you get in an airplane, you're doing that based on odds. And so this is nothing different. It is odds. And so I encourage you to look at family members expressing an interest in providing care. What is your family history and how much does it cost and what type of risk are you mitigating? That should help you make a good and informed answer to your question.
Okay.
Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that was, it definitely all depends on factors for sure.
And you can always email us with more details and we'd be happy to answer the question.
It is such a tricky thing. Like this is kind of a different, not long-term care insurance, but for Jordan and I, when we were looking at insurance, one of the things they're trying to get you is like this, like cancer insurance or like catastrophic insurance or all these things. And you're just like, I don't know if I need that. Yeah. But then you're like, but then what if I get this or what if
if you read I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, you know it's all taken care of.
Right.
And it's 5 insurances. If you get cancer and you become disabled due to it, you have disability insurance, long-term disability insurance to pay. And if you die from it, then you have life insurance.
Right.
And so those two things take care of it. So cancer insurance helps cover those bills and that sort of, so does disability. And so Social Security disability helps as well. So I encourage you to think about it. You're not it's like double dipping if you do that, and you're double spending.
Yeah. So tricky. So make sure we'll include a link if you need to pick up a copy of I Was Broke to read that section, because I think I'm going to take it home and read it again, because insurance can get you. It can be tricky. But I think that's really good.
That's 2 questions. We have time for a third?
Yes. All right. Number 3. I have begun investigating starting a business. My question is, how do I start, and do you have a roadmap or ladder for starting a business? I'm looking for practical steps to get started. Thank you for your time and wisdom, Michael.
Now that is a great question from Michael. I'm smiling because I do not have a ladder for starting a business, but it is a great idea.
Let's do it.
We should have a ladder idea for starting a business. Okay, so let's just make it up on the spot, for real. This is live. Sorry. I think the first rung on the ladder should be, you should write down your plans, hopes, and dreams. It's very similar to the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not ladder. And then it should be rung 2.
Am I writing this down?
No.
Oh,
we're making this up.
I was just, you didn't know to write things down.
So after you write down your plans, hopes, and dreams, then rung 2 should be complete rung 5. Get done with rung 5 of the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not ladder. That's rung 2. So it can be confusing. Get done with rung 5 on the I Was Broke ladder. That's rung 2 on the business ladder. What that means is have all your debt paid off except for your house, and have a minimum of 3 months worth of expenses in savings. Mm-hmm. Because in 18 months, 80% of small business startups fail in America. That's a statistic from the SBA Small Business Administration, SBA.gov. In 5 years, 90%. So think about it. Those are the 2 markers for a successful business, if you're aiming for it, is to make it 18 months. 80% fail then. And after that, the other 20%, half of those fail again in the next 36 plus 6, 42 months. So I encourage you to really think about that and say, with your small business, have a very good idea. And think about why businesses fail. Most businesses do not fail because of lack of a good idea, nor for lack of profitability. They fail because of lack of money. They just run out of working capital is what it's called, cash on hand. And so I liken it with my book, Oxen. So shall we compare it to that principle of oxen?
Let's.
Shall we? In the principle of the ox is that you need oxen. They help carry the load for you. They can do things you cannot do. They're stronger than you. You have to guide them. But what happens when you birth a baby business, it's like a baby ox being born. And Megan, would you run up to a baby ox and as soon as it's born and say, oh, look, a beautiful, cuddly baby ox. I'm going to throw a yoke on it right now.
No.
And start beating it and tie a plow to it and make it start working.
No.
Why? Why wouldn't you do that?
Because it wouldn't work.
Why? What would happen to that baby?
The
It's
baby
going to
would-
perish,
yeah.
right? It's not going to make it. It can't do that. It's a baby. It's a baby.
It used to be so cute.
It is so cute. You know, his mom's licking it. And so here's the issue. That's what happens, though, with most small business startups.
Yeah.
Here's what happens. The baby's born. New idea. They're so fired up about it, they quit their job. And now they put their salary needs, their income needs on the back of the baby ox. They put the yoke on it. It's a baby. It can't support that. And then they finance the startup costs with a credit card. And now they have a credit card bill. And then they need space, so they sign a lease. Now they have to pay a lease payment. And then they hire employees to try to help them. And before you know it, the baby ox dies before he ever had a chance to grow up. He was a beautiful ox. He was going to grow up, man. He was going to be able to pull the load. He just didn't have a chance to grow up.
Yeah.
And so I encourage you, I don't know who wrote this.
Michael.
Michael? Michael did? Michael did. Michael, I really encourage you to think about growing the ox and starting it as a side deal, as a side hustle, as a side job, because it allows you to prove the concept, prove that there's a market for it, prove that people will pay money for it, and help you understand the potential. And you get to judge your passion for it. And so I figured maybe it might be helpful for me to share the story of starting my baby ox. I was broke, now I'm not.
Yeah.
That has been successful now since 2006. So, and I went full time with it in June of 2009. So we just celebrated 10 years. So we've made it.
Ooh.
It's awesome. Fired up. And here's how my baby was born. I started it as a blog, and it made no money. And I was like, well, that's not making any money. And then I started doing free financial coaching for broke people. Well, they
that
couldn't
wouldn't make
pay
any
me
money.
money. And I didn't want to charge them money. And then I started teaching classes at my church. Again, no money. But it allowed me to test and test my passion and say, is this something for real? And a church knew that I was doing this, and they asked me to come on staff and actually help train their people. And it started making money for me. I got paid a salary. And then I wrote a book, and no publisher would publish it. But I saved up money because I had margin, and I used that money to buy the book, to self-publish the book. And I bought 3,000 copies. And so they started selling unbelievably, even more than my mom bought it. Somebody other than my mom bought I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. It's amazing. And anybody who's wrote a book wonders, is my mom even going to buy a copy? And I will say this. I ended up working the equivalent of 2 full-time jobs for a year. From 2008 was 2 full-time jobs. I was traveling everywhere on the weekends and then at my job at our church during the week, just all over the place. I spoke in 2009 92 times other than my church. And man, after that, it was like, hey, I've got 2 full-time jobs, but the ox had grown up. And I had no debt. And that's the benefit of keeping your regular job is you don't have to incur debt. You can do this lean and you can really test your idea. And by that time, we were in a position to say, you know what? It's time to go. And while I had to take a pay cut to go start my business, I was able to put a little bit of a salary on its back, and it just kind of quivered, and it was able to haul the load. And then the salary was able to return, and we were able to prosper. And so that, Michael, I hope by sharing my story will help give you some inspiration to start the business on the side, let that baby ox get born, feed it, nurture it, baby it, cozy up to it, let it grow. Before you know it, it'll be able to handle the whole load and you'll be able to go do it full blast. So hopefully that's helpful to you and hopeful to everybody. It'll help everybody who has a dream of starting a small business.
Yeah. I think that's huge that you give it time to kind of work out the kinks almost of,
Yeah.
you know,
That's really it.
you're taking an idea and you're putting it into a business, but sometimes what you think is going to work doesn't work when it comes to
That is the
practically
truth.
doing it. And
That's, woo,
I think
inspirational moment with Megan.
yeah. And so I think, you know, that time is so important and special where you're working out, okay, we can do this, we can't do this, this works, this doesn't work. People are responding to this or not responding to that. So I need to change this, say this. And then, you know, if you're selling something, how is your sales process? You know, is that converting people? Is that not converting people? You know, it's all of these things that you need to kind of work through before you're willing to say, okay, I'm putting my money where my mouth is and my cash, you know, and I'm stepping away, you know.
Watch out. Marketer Megan has stepped out here. I love it. You know what? We're going to land the plane on this question.
Yeah.
But you know what I sense? This was a whole episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure this gets slotted into 2020 somewhere on starting a business. I think this could be a fantastic episode, and we may take and do a series on this because this is the dream of many, and we really want to help you guys. And so grateful to be able to help you. I'm going to really preview next episode, and that is how to have the best financial year yet. So as we start out the new year of 2020, we're going to talk about how to have the best financial year yet and things you can do practically to position yourself to make it the best one ever when it comes to your money. We can't wait to talk about it.
All right. And if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to others who could benefit. You could do this by quickly rating our podcast and leaving us a review. And these ratings and review help us make our podcast better for other listeners. And also don't forget, on the last Monday of the month, we're answering your top money questions. So if you have questions, please send them in, and we could feature your question on the podcast.
Send them in via email. Send them in via social media.
Yep.
You can even call us, 864-332-4151.
Yep.
As we close out the podcast, Megan, will you take a second to just say how grateful we are to all of our listeners
Yeah.
for the year?
It's kind of crazy when we look at the numbers, like I share them with you pretty often, and how you guys are continuing to listen and how it's continuing to grow. It's kind of mind-blowing a little bit for both of us, at least for me. And so I think both of us are super humbled and thankful that you guys are willing to join us and that you're willing to go on this journey with us and trusting us and sending your questions and your stories to us. It means a lot, and we definitely don't take it for granted. So we're super thankful for all of you guys. We're thankful for the time you put in listening, for you sending in success stories and questions, and just trusting and believing that we're going to provide you guys with great content. So we're super thankful.
Yeah. And I would just say this, we're powered by your success. And that's why we love to hear your success stories. So here's to you. Here's to 2020. May it be the best and most successful financial year yet. God bless.
Happy New Year.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.